Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Absolutely. My name is Benny, that is Hassan, and Sal is out of town today. And I'm answering that now because we're doing an X-Men topic, and I know you're all going to say, where is Sal? Next week, we're going to bring him in for the new episode of X-Men, and then we'll get his opinion on this particular episode.
We know this episode's huge, and we had to get this out to you immediately.
Okay, so Hassan, I want to start, we're going to discuss episode 5, but I also want to discuss the whole series as a whole right now, because I thought it was going to be hot trash. So I wasn't watching it. Mm-hmm. So I ignored all the grifter bullshit of like, oh, it's going to be garbage. I just assumed it was going to be another Marvel project that was going to be just lackluster and I wouldn't be fun with it.
Exactly.
That's what I thought it was.
We've had a series of them.
Yeah, we had a series of them. So I wasn't interested. Never mind the fact my childhood was mostly Batman and Spider-Man, the animated series. I watched X-Men, but I didn't like keep up with it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't huge for me.
Mine was almost the exact same. I think you'd keep up with the X-Men characters during the 90s Spider-Man crossover episodes. And then on occasion you'd catch I watched the whole Days of Future Past arc way back in the day. But I would never episode to episode watch the original show.
I think my problem back in the day was the fact that it was arc based, especially after the first season where they would do these large sprawling arcs. And I would have issues following them because I didn't know when it was airing. I mean, I was a kid. I wasn't sitting there guys, it's X-Men time,
Well, and also we got to remember too, this is the 90s, the early 2000s. Production schedules were kind of all over the place. So they would legitimately air episodes out of order very often. And so many different shows.
The timeline, we're going to start over. I remember DBZ would do that. You'd have to watch the entire series again to get the 2 new episodes in the back half so they could restart it again.
Mm-hmm. Every time. Toonami would regularly just loop that stuff. And you know what? Here's the thing. I don't think I ever, well into adulthood, I think I mainly only watched the Boo Saga. I just didn't get to see the rest of it until later. I mean, not adult.
I didn't see the Boo Saga until I was an adult, and I went back to rewatch it.
So much random stuff that you just miss over the years and weird airing schedules. I don't know if X-Men was a victim of this, but it was hard to keep up with TV back in the day. Best way to put it.
Yeah. So what we're getting to is I went into X-Men expecting nothing. The reason I decided to start watching it is everyone's like, Benny, you got to see episode 5. Benny, you got to see episode 5. And then, of course, people are like, what do you think about the death of insert character here, which we'll get to in a minute. And I was like, well, that's been spoiled, but I guess I'll watch it anyway, see how we got there.
It's crazy. Did not get a spoiler for this.
No?
I didn't. Well, I didn't.
I think it's because I'm not blocking anything X-Men related because I just didn't care. So,
yeah.
What I'm getting at is, so I watched, we'll talk more about 5 because I'm assuming while I was on vacation, you guys discussed the show.
I wasn't part of those if they did. Whoops.
Oh, all right. All right.
I'm jumping in fresh because I picked up the show, I think maybe while episode 2 was out. Episode 2, and then I waited for 3, and then I kind of lost interest around 4. 4 wasn't for me. 5 was what just happened? Oh my God, the show is insane.
So 1 and 2, I was digging it. I was like, okay, I'm kind of liking the direction they're going. I love the fight sequences. That first episode,
incredible.
Where Wolverine is running forward, Gambit charges the claws, he jumps off Morph, who morphed into Blob, and then jumps into the Sentinel. I'm like, okay, you definitely thought out how a team would act. They're actually working together. This is great. I like this.
Animation and art style, bar none, might be the best thing animated in American media, period.
I was against it before it came out. I was like, it looks kind of like CG wannabe. Now that I've watched the series, the only thing I'm against is Magneto's overall appearance. I feel like he has way too many lines on his face.
He's so sexy, dude. I think he looks so hot. I think he looks perfect, man.
Do you? I don't like Magneto's
straight man
design.
Opinion here. That guy is so hot right now. Look at his long hair, his old man lines, the power, something about it.
I notice how when you said you're attracted to him, the power was in there.
Are you denying that part of it? He literally walks into the room and he's like, my X-Men to me. He's the villain. What the hell do you mean my X-Men to me? How dare he say that? And you know what? We just go to him. They just all right. He's right. Wolverine has had no issue with this. He's not said a single word against this.
Let's talk about the Magneto twist to begin with there. The only one who's had a problem with it is Cyclops. Literally, everyone else has just been like, all right, I guess we're with Magneto now.
Sounds good, bub. We fought this guy for years, but he's our guy now.
Yeah.
Let me go hang out with him.
And I get why they don't want to waste time, 10 episodes, trusting that we're going to move right into Magneto and just keep doing this big twist. But yeah, Wolverine of all people to not even be like, I don't know about this.
Well, and I really felt they were going to go in a different direction when they had that crazy scene where Jean's giving birth to the baby and Storm loses her powers and Magneto flies in the air with all those people. I was like, here we go again. Mr.
Nope.
picks up a coliseum to kill a bunch of people. Uh-oh. And then it was this incredibly powerful, moving thing of like, I will honor Charles's wishes. You know, I thought so weird to pick up on an X-Men show where Charles Xavier's died. That might have happened at the end of the X-Men 97 or the original show.
I believe it did. I believe it did.
I didn't remember that. I didn't
I didn't
watch
either.
That.
I didn't because I watched like the first couple of seasons and then kind of fell off and just didn't keep up with it. So I'm pretty sure he did, but don't hold me to that because if I'm wrong, chat will let us know.
It will
at length, and they will say it's your fault that we didn't know. I don't know why they're going to point fingers at you, but they will.
Dude, but the way that this is picked up, I mean, it's just been powerful. I love they're doing something Young Justice did that I think is a really good idea. Nobody likes when I bring up Young Justice, but I'm doing it here.
It's another animated superhero cartoon show. Why wouldn't you?
You tell me. Everybody gets mad at me for saying it. So, in DC Comics, there are a lot of versions of the journey where Roy Harper goes on, where he becomes Red Arrow, where he's Speedy, and then he's Arsenal, right? Like he loses an arm, he's addicted to drugs. There's a lot of different things, and they didn't know what to do with. With Young Justice, they went with these clones, where it was like, hey, original Roy Harper loses his arm, he goes on to become Arsenal. The arm was used to clone this other Roy, that's Red Arrow, and then they even do a couple more. So you kind of get to see the sprawling journey. Love the way they did Madeline Pryor, Jean Grey.
Yes.
That is
Madeline Pryor is great.
Such an effective retcon. Everything about it, where it was like Scott, what is it? The comics back in the day, he moves somewhere else in mourning, and then happens to meet a girl who looks exactly like Jean. Doesn't think twice about it, marries her. That whole entire story. Which, by the way, guys, yes, I read comics. I hate everybody in this audience. I do read comics. And I remember reading this.
Chat wants to let us know, just so you know, Charles Xavier was not dead at the end of the series. It was left with him going to space to get a cure.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
so that happened between them. Yeah.
He got a cure of death. He's gone. He's out. He's out of the show.
I mean, it's a kind of cure.
It's a kind of cure. Problems won't bother you anymore. But, with this show's just, I had no expectation for the show because, again, Disney Plus has not given me quality. Animation in the Marvel department, I've not liked anything they've done since Spectacular Spider-Man era. So, and that's Sony. That's not even Marvel. So I really fell off this. So surprised at how good this is.
So, I mean, straight up, the first 2 episodes, I think it was the 2, because it's 5. Oh, yeah, because the Jubilee thing's like a half an episode. I loved what they did with Madeline Pryor. I also loved that they were able to condense it so well and then move forward, because then we did the Jubilee episode and the Storm story, like the double episode. And then we show, like, I wish they would tell us how much time's passed, because now Madeline Pryor is on Genosha. She's working with them.
Yeah.
There's been a significant passage of time, which is also why I think we're doing no one's really super questioning Magneto, because I think we're supposed to be like, he took control. That happened. Now we're okay with it to an extent. Like
I wasn't even thinking about the passage of time. I think you're onto something. That's definitely been something where like, whoa, okay, we're just moving. And in my brain, I'm like, this is a cartoon logic where things just happen and people are okay with things. Because Madeline Pryor needed to find her way, and now she's like a government official in Genosha.
That's what I mean. Like that's not a 2-minute thing. Like she didn't just leave the mansion and someone's like, "Hey, Madeline, that's your name, right? Yeah, you're Madeline now. How about you come on over to Genosha? We need more government officials.
We need an X-Men." And you guys had one to spare. I love that line. Which, did you catch this in the title sequence? First 2 episodes, Jean Grey, hair down in the title sequence. When real Jean Grey is revealed, hair is up, classic Jean Grey look. So she replaces she replaces Madeline Pryor in the opening. Little subtle things like that where like Madeline Pryor has her hair down, Jean Grey usually has her hair up. That whole scene where where Homeboy's cheating in the Mindscape is crazy.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
So so let's move over. Obviously we're behind now because we haven't been talking about X-Men, but we're on board now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about episode 5.
Yeah, sorry, I'm already jumping to it.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So we're at episode 5 now. We've done with Madeline Pryor. We got the people over there. First off, I loved the fact that we had Moira there. I also love the fact that we had so many accents and they didn't sound right to me.
They were horrible. I'm sure they're real world accents, but in this cartoon where I'm just like watching cartoon, it's like, oh, okay.
Like Moira's was a bit hard to follow. Like I had subtitles on. And like it was only a couple lines. I'm not complaining too much about it. It's just more of a comical, like, okay, I get it. She's not American. And I actually appreciate not making everybody sound American. Like they actually like when Morph turned into Magic. By the way, Morph's my favorite because Morph is the way to get every other character in the X-Men world to appear here. So when he turned into Magic and had the proper Russian accent, or at least an attempt at it, it sounded like me trying to do a Russian accent, but I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. So I don't know what they're doing with like Morph is just turning into so many things. It's awesome.
He's super cool. And I mean, like, maybe he's in love with Wolverine. Like, that was played into a couple episodes prior, like nightmare sequence stuff.
I mean, Morph in general is kind of like bi in all of it. I think they're basically saying he's non-binary.
Yeah,
non-binary is what they're going with now. In the comics, he's been very bi, where he'll turn into a woman, he'll turn into a man, he'll hit on the appropriate people. That's just what he does.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Which is why I always find it hilarious when everyone is like, Morph's non-binary now. And I'm like, okay, are they going to throw it in your face in the show? No, they don't even bring it up.
Never comes up. I mean, Homeboy, he gets it on Wolverine, but to be fair, he's kind of a hot little dude here, so I don't know.
But when he turned into Magic, thought that was great. Loved that moment. But anyway, back to this. I loved all the accents. The accents were a lot of fun. There was something.
It's cool to get these heavy hitters, man, like Emma Frost and like all these other people in Genosha. Just like you can feel how established this world is in, yet you can still go to episode 1 and watch. And if you've been a fan of X-Men at any point in your life, you really can just watch, because this episode feels like the building penultimate moment of several seasons. Genosha getting a terrorist.
Well, it's supposed to
attack,
be a follow-up. It's supposed to be a follow-up, so they're basically assuming you've watched the other 5 seasons.
Yeah.
So that's why it's called 97, because we went 92, 97.
And at the same time, it still feels like I didn't watch the other X-Men universe, and I picked up episode 1, and so did my roommate, and it's really, really accessible. They do a good job of character designs, dialogue, and really reiterating in not an exhaustive way of like Naruto style, here's 10 flashbacks. No flashbacks. Let's just tell you how we're feeling. As characters, we are navigating. Jean Grey doesn't have her memories, so she cheats. You know, this episode has probably one of like the funnier things that has led to a lot of discourse. She cheats on Scott with Wolverine, kisses him. Wolverine's like, nope, can't do it. Walks in on Scott, emotionally, telepathically cheating, and she's like, how dare you? I love you. That's all I remember.
I think that's what I love about this, because I remember when I was a kid, one of the biggest things that actually turned me off of the X-Men show, but as I got older, I started to like, was the drama. The love triangle, the human element going on. Because, I mean, Spider-Man's got the human element, but it's just Spider-Man.
Yeah.
There's no real drama outside of like, my life sucks and there's a clone and Mary Jane. So, and Batman, same deal. Like, his human drama is just, I'm a rich guy. Woe's me.
It's fair.
And I think that was one of the big turnips I had with the original show as a kid. You know, as I got older, I started to appreciate it more and understand it better. So I like that is carried over and that the drama is real. Like the Gambit, Rogue, and the Magneto thing. And I like how they retconned to this. As far as I know, it's a retcon, Rogue-Magneto relationship. And
I don't know. I thought it was part of the original series. Maybe I'm wrong. At the very least, this is not something new to like media, you know, like this isn't new to X-Men having Rogue and Magneto kind of have that connection. I love the idea that his magnetism allows her to touch. Gambit, we haven't touched on him a ton.
Oh, good. Men's Health explained their relationship. Let me see what Men's Health has to say about it.
Oh my God, stop. Look, Gambit's been really cool in this series. His accent is perfect. It's very exhausting to listen to every now and then for me.
Yeah.
But I also think it's so funny and it's so well done. So yeah,
I do want to say, because I keep forgetting and I keep wanting to bring this up because we were talking about voices and we moved on. The only voice that I questioned was Rogue's voice. It just, I get the actress has moved on, has grown up and gotten older, but it just sounds old coming out of Rogue. And it's the same voice actress. I checked. I was like, it's got to be, because why else would they make her sound so much older? Like,
interesting. It didn't hit me, but I didn't watch the original as much, so like I don't have like a key thing. I know they used old Jubilee as the Cyber Jubilee, and then like the new actress is playing young Jubilee, which is cool. Because she wanted to give.
They did that with a lot of them. A lot of the old cast, they got brought back, but if they didn't match the voice enough, they moved them to a different
well,
role.
it wasn't voice matching for that character. I don't know what it is for everybody else, but for that character, the voice actress did not want to play an Asian character. They'd rather give it to an Asian person. So that's why the new voice actor for Jubilee is Asian. And then she was like, I'm okay playing old cyberpunk version of my character kind of thing. That was her own choice. They're doing the same thing with the Avatar: The Last Airbender series. I don't necessarily agree with this as an idea, but that's a whole other conversation. Where like Dante Basco's the only one coming back for the Avatar animated movies.
I will say, Men's Health opened the article with one very useful line for us. First off, don't worry if you did not watch the original series. It's not lore you missed from the original.
Okay,
so cool. It is new. I thought that was a new angle they're taking.
I dig it. I believed it. That's the thing. I believed it. I believe this is pre-established. I could feel the connection immediately. It really reminded me of Jennifer Lawrence Mystique and Michael Fassbender's Magneto, like that immediate kind of dynamic. A little bit more articulate. And we shouldn't talk about the Rogue in that franchise. I think Anna Paquin did a job.
Okay, so let's start off with this statement. Do you think Gambit is actually dead? Because
Yes.
it ended with the blacked out screen of her being like, "I can't heal you" or "I can't revive you."
You know what she said?
What?
I can't feel you.
Feel you. That was it. Yeah.
Right? And do you know who also said this?
What?
In a Disney Plus series, Wanda says it holding Vision. Or maybe she says it in Endgame. Sorry, guys. Don't misquote me. It's either Infinity War or it's WandaVision. Holds him. I can't feel you. And they're doing that again. I saw lots of memes.
I do think they're kind of cutting down the cast a little with his death. But for anyone who doesn't remember the original series, Morph was killed and then brought back like 3 seasons later or something like that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Morph was killed in the beginning, and then we find out seasons later, actually, he didn't actually die.
That romance between Rogue and Gambit is very, very believable. I also love that we kind of got a different angle for him as a character where he's just so gracious, where he's like, well, Moshari, until then we're friends. And then, when Magneto and her are getting it on, he's like, we're friends, but no, I'm going to walk out. I'm going to appropriately remove myself from the situation. And then everything goes to hell.
Right. Now, also, because I don't know how much you're familiar, but the arrival of Cable, to me, immediately said, none of this is going to stick.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. There it is. I literally spaced out on that. Yeah.
I mean, Cable showed up for he was there for literally just long enough to be like, don't let this happen. Shit. It's like, okay.
Time travel better with the confirmation, which I think this is the first time the series has done it, where Madeline Pryor is the mother of Cable, which is cool. And we're finally seeing another where he's like, Mom?
Yeah.
Do better, Nathaniel.
It was a little weird having him call her mom, but
it is, especially because he's a pre-established character in this TV show. Like Cable's been around as a time traveling guy in the original '90s series, so kind of cool. We get to watch his origin story, and for people who aren't comic book fans, kind of watching for the first time, I bet that's a really cool moment.
Right. I do want to say, the finale for Gambit, assuming even if he doesn't come back, even if he does come back. Just I forget what his last line was, but it was just so heroic and epic as he's charging the piece of metal sticking out of him. I think it was like, "You won't forget my name" or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, it was incredible.
It was the voice acting was on point. The scene was so powerful. Dude, I was sitting there and I'm like ready to tear up like, oh shit. I mean, I know he's going to die, but like this
I didn't know.
This is incredible. You didn't know. I knew it was going to happen.
Dude, so, when he gets on the motorcycle and hits Rogue with the motorcycle to stop her from charging in, insane. All of that was insane. All that's insane. So, Magneto is implied to also be dead.
That's it. The name's Gambit. Remember it.
That was the line. It is. Take what is it? I am Iron Man to the bank right there. We got a new contender.
Oh, dude, that was such a good. That whole sequence. Now, for me, because I knew he was gonna die, it was a series of like, is it on the bike? No. Is it on this? No. Is it when he jumps? Oh, it's when he jumps. Okay.
Watching it free of the rest, it really, really just threw me off. And then Magneto died too during this sequence of events. We don't get to see his body.
Well, we don't see either one of their bodies. That's why I'm like,
we see Gambit's body. She holds his body as he's dead, and then says, more than Magneto died off screen. Basically, he didn't. He got vaporized, I guess. But Nightcrawler, in theory, Kurt could have teleported.
Yeah, Nightcrawler could have saved him, and we also again Cable showed up. So body slide to the left. I'm gonna fix this, and we're gonna.
He did. How did you feel? And this is dialing back to the finale. Scott Summers on the air, his venting rant on TV.
Dude.
Insane.
That was so. I was half expecting it to turn into like this is what Scott thought he wanted to say, but he won't say it.
Yeah, because it's so concussive.
He just went for it. I was like,
to be fair, they were literally like breaking HIPAA laws. Like, hey, we heard from the hospital. Doctor told us you had baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us about baby. Accusing him of being a liar for not wanting to talk about it.
I also love the Scott, the evolution they're doing of Scott right now. I really hope we go down the route of Scott. Cyclops is right. Where he switches to the Magneto role
because he wants Madeline Pryor more than he wants Jean. And to be fair, Jean wants wants Wolverine. So let Jean, like,
I mean,
I
all
have
the
very
people-
little sympathy for Jean.
The direction they're taking Cyclops, to me, I'm like, I really hope we get down to like I said, Cyclops was right. But the fact that they've also introduced Emma, like in the way that they have, and they introduced Moira, I'm like, are we also like, if we're going long, are they already planning for like Krakoa type stuff? Like we're gonna go down this whole rabbit hole? Because like, why introduce Moira there as a part of the like a cameo? Why else?
Yeah, I think that you're exactly right. I mean, with Genosha being destroyed, and maybe that'll be undone, right? Cable's trying to go back in time and stop it, so maybe we'll get lucky and Genosha will be back. But if Genosha's not back, that's got to be where we're going, right? We got to be going Krakoa arc. We got to go with Cyclops.
There's too many time traveling and telepathic mutants for this to stick.
Right. There's it's crazy how loaded this is, and it got me for the first time in a long time excited about X-Men coming to the MCU. I forgot how cool these characters really are.
Yeah.
And their lore, it's very, very like a person of color growing up in Alabama. When the X-Men are talking about what it is to being a mutant, it's very similar to what it is to be a person of color in America. And it obviously it's made to be that, right? They do it so well that it isn't this like everybody hates you because you're different. It's this like nuanced thing where everybody has you on this really thin thread. And when you do anything wrong, even if it's subtle, you're villainized, right? Scott said, I don't want to talk, like, I don't have a baby because he doesn't want to talk about it. And they're like, you're lying. We're trying to build trust. And how dare you lie to us humans? You're monsters. And how dare you lie to us when we're trying to give you a shot? And then he goes on his crazy rant where he's like, yeah, you're lucky we're not evil because then you'd all be gone. What? Okay, Scott. Damn. So I love this show, man. I don't know if there's much else to say on this episode. I think Sal can get more into the minutia of it all, but maybe this is a comic arc. I was so taken back. It's beautiful. Rogue is wearing a dress she's worn in the comics. I saw like a side-by-side of that. That's really, really stunning. And that whole sequence. And it's powerful. I like her as the queen of Genosha and like everything they were planning. It was really, really powerful. And it's cool to have, I felt really horrible for the people on a place that was just introduced to us. You know, like we just saw Genosha for the first time. We landed there this episode. And when Genosha was being destroyed, my heart was kind of breaking. I was like, no, oh my God, these people.
I forget what that thing is called. The triple sentinel. I think that thing is a thing. Is it the tri-sentinel?
Maybe that mega sentinel, something, ultimate sentinel.
Tri-sentinel. Tri-sentinel is the name of it. It looks like
the lizard guy holding Magneto. And crying and Magneto being like, it'll all be okay or something, whatever to him before they both die. Such a powerful moment because we caught him in the first episode where Magneto saved him. So,
okay, I'm not wrong. I thought, but in the comics, the Tri-Sentinel is made by Loki. So I don't think we're going that route.
I think we should keep the Prince of Darkness out of this series.
Yeah, it's called Master Mold in this one. Yeah, I did see that, but I the whole design just looked like the Tri-Sentinel.
Now, Benny, did you catch the MCU tie-in?
No, what was the MCU tie-in?
The Watcher was in the sky, and it was like a Watcher the Watcher. You can see the silhouette of his face, and it could just be a Marvel Comics tie-in. But maybe idea that this is part of the greater what if MCU multiverse sprawling thing. X-Men 97 exists in the Pantheon.
What if this is way out there? They're gonna make X-Men 97 canon. And like, okay, you want to watch what they did on their planet? This is what they did. Now they've been moved over with the Fantastic Four.
It's fun, and I'm with it. And if we don't do it for everybody, we should do it for some characters. You know, like that Magneto. We get Michael Fassbender to grow his hair out. He could play that Magneto again. You know, instead of being first class Magneto, he's 97 universe, ultra powerful, Omega level mutant Magneto.
Yeah.
But
all right, we're gonna bring this to a close here, guys. If you enjoyed this discussion, let us know. We can talk about the latest episode every week, and of course, we'll get Sal in the rotation. He's just on break this week. I took 2 weeks off, and then Sal's like, "Well, I get a break," so I was like, "Whatever." Hassan does it though. Hassan will always be here.
I'm gonna be off soon. He doesn't know it, but I won't be back.
What? What do you got to come back eventually? What do you mean you won't come back?
Who knows? Next time on X-Men 97. We're just playing each other out. All right. That's the end of the video. This has been Absolutely. Be back next week. Another video. All right. Bye-bye.